Hi everyone. Today we will discuss methods of measurement of force. In this class, we will see what are the different methods and what are the different types of instruments used to measure force. In already previous class, we discussed some measuring instruments of force. It is there are different types. We will see in previous class. It is equal arm beam balance and unequal arm beam balance, multi-lever platform scale, and also essentials of a pendulum scale. These are the different measuring instruments are discussed in the previous class. So today we will see some other measuring instruments of the force. The first one is uh, we will discuss what are the different types of measuring instruments of force and what are its construction and what are its working, what are the different properties of their instruments we can see in this class. So it is about the force. It is defined as the influence that causes an object to change its rate or direction of movement or rotation. If the force is defined as influence, it causes an object to change its rate of direction of movement or rotation. That means whenever we apply the force on that object, automatically the area of the object or the position of the object, the motion of the object should be changed. A force can accelerate objects by pulling or pushing them. If the force are used to uh, pull the object or to pushing object, a force can accelerate. That means some amount of force. I don't know about how much amount of force I am acting on that particular object. I'm find out that uh, unknown value of the force. I don't know how much amount of force I'm acting on that body. So what is the measuring uh, value in that equipment? It is force. So the force is the measuring device. So the amount of force acting on that object, it is a pulling force or pushing forces, any type of force are acting on the object, the position of the object should be changed, the area of the object should be changed. Okay, the motion of the object is changed. These are the different motion changes, different area changes. These are the changes occurred whenever you force applied on that object. The relationship between force, mass, and acceleration was defined by Isaac Newton in his second law of motion. From the Newton's second law of motion, the force is proportional to the mass into acceleration. The force is proportional to the mass into acceleration. The force is depends upon the mass and acceleration. So whenever you apply the force on that object, the object should be moving or the object um, position should be changed or the area of the object should be changed. These are the different changes occurred whenever uh, you applied the force on the object. Okay, so based upon the Newton's second law, what it is told, the force is proportional to the mass and acceleration of the body. So force is equal to, what is the formula? Mass into acceleration. That is F is equal to m into a. F is equal to m into a. It is the formula of the force. So what are the units? It is calculated as newtons and kgs. Newtons and kgs. And next one, you can see what are the different force measurement methods. What are the force measurement methods? So the force measurement methods are the different measuring instruments are used to measure the force by using different instruments. One is you can see so the force measurement method, you can see the balancing the unknown force against known gravitational force due to standard mass scales and balances works based upon this principle. So we can known about the um, uh, one amount of force, and that means I will take one standard mass. I know about that mass. You can see the diagram. It is the diagram. So in that equal arm beam balance, one side I am taking standard mass, that means as known standard mass. The known standard mass means I know about that weight, I know about that weight of the object. And other side of the equal arm beam balance, I am taking the unknown weight of the unknown weight of the force. That means I don't know about that weight of the object. Based upon this known standard mass, I am calculating this unknown force. I am calculating the unknown force by using this equal arm beam balance operation. Okay, and applying unknown force to an elastic member, that is uh, that unknown force is attached with the spring, beam, cantilever. These are the different times, and measuring the resulting deflection on calibrated force scale, or the deflection may be measured by using secondary transducers, that is elastic force meter providing ring. These are the different measuring instruments are measured force. Next one, translating the force to a fluid pressure and then measuring the resultant pressure. Hydraulic and pneumatic load cells works on the principle. Hydraulic and pneumatic load cells. These are also used to known about the unknown force by using different measuring methods. Okay, so we are applying to unknown, we are applying to known mass and then measuring the resulting acceleration. Balancing force against a magnetic force which is developed by interaction of a magnetic and current in coil. So the magnetic force is also used to known about the unknown force of the different measuring devices. What are the weight measurement methods? It is scales and balances, elastic force meter, and load cells. The scales and balances, it is classified into different types. One is a equal arm beam balance scale, unequal arm beam balance scale, multi-lever platform scale, pendulum scale. These are the different measuring instruments are used to measure the force. And next one, elastic force meter. These elastic force meter, I'm used a spring scale. That spring scale is also used to calculate the unknown force. And other measuring devices, it is load cells. Load cells. Load cell. One is a strain gauge load cell, hydraulic load cell, pneumatic load cell, and a LVDT, linear variable differential transformer. These are the different types of load cells are used to measure the unknown force. So these are all different measuring methods to calculate unknown force. Okay. So in previous class, we already discussed what is equal arm beam balance scale and a unequal arm beam balance scale, multi-lever platform scale, and a pendulum scale. These are all instruments we already discussed in previous class. So today we will see what is spring scale, strain gauge load cells, hydraulic load cells, pneumatic load cell, and a linear variable differential transformer. These topics we will discuss in this class. You can see what is the diagram of these scales and balances. You can see Equal arm beam balance. Equal arm beam balance. It is the equal arm beam balance. So in this equal arm beam balance, uh, one side I am taking the known amount of mass, and another side of the beam I am taking, another side of the arm I am taking the unknown force. I don't know about the I don't know about that unknown force. Based upon that known standard mass, I'm calculating the unknown force. So how much amount of unknown force is adding on that equal arm beam balance equipment? I will know about the pointer and scale. So a calibrated scale is arranged on the pointer with the help of fulcrum. Okay, you can see what is the fulcrum. The midpoint of the arm, it is the fulcrum. The midpoint of the arm, it is the fulcrum. So the fulcrum is connected with is pivoted with a pointer. The pointer is pivoted with fulcrum. This pointer shows the how much amount of unknown mass is how much amount of deflection is placed in this equal arm beam balance. To know about the calibrated scale, to know about the calibrated scale. So that is the unknown amount of force, unknown amount of force. Okay, and next you can see the equal arm beam balance diagram. It is the equal arm beam balance diagram. So what is the condition? It is M1 L1 is equal to M2 L2. That is weight W1 is equal to weight W2. M1 L1 is equal to M2 L2. That is finally what I am getting, W1 is equal to W2. How should I get W1 is equal to W2? You can see the fulcrum is placed in the middle of the arm. The fulcrum is placed in the middle of the arm. It is the fulcrum. You can see fulcrum. It is the fulcrum. So the fulcrum is placed in the middle of the arm. So the arms are in same distance to the fulcrum. The arms are same distance to the fulcrum. So in this distance, it is L2, length L2, and it is L1. The standard mass it is M1, and the unknown mass it is M2. Okay, so the standard mass M1 and the length L1, the unknown mass M2 and length L2. So I'm calculating this M2 value. How should you calculate by this M2 value? Means the pointer scale, it shows the how much amount of deflection placed in the standard mass to the unknown mass. Okay, so in the equal arm beam balance, uh, those are in equilibrium position. It is in equilibrium position. That means we are not adding any type of any amounts of weights on these arms. That is uh, 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 the balance is in equilibrium position. Okay, so in that means M1 L1 is equal to M1 L1 is equal to M2 L2. M1 L1 is equal to M2 L2. Okay, it is the condition is used for equilibrium condition. Equilibrium condition. The equal arm beam balance is in equilibrium position. What is the condition? M1 L1 is equal to M2 L2. You can see in equilibrium position, the L1 and L2 are same distances. L1 and L2 are same distances. Then L1 is equal to L2. L1 is equal to L2. So what should I written? M1 L1 is equal to M1 L1 is equal to M2 L1. Okay, L2 is equal to L1 is equal to L2. Then L2 I will written as L1. So cancel this L1 and L1. So M1 is equal to M2. That is mass 1 is equal to mass 2. what I am getting, the equilibrium position, mass 1 is equal to mass 2. These two masses are equal. Mass m1 and mass 2 m2 are equal. These two are equal. That means weight w1 is equal to weight w2. These two weights are equal in equilibrium position. Whenever we add the some amount of standard mass, whenever we add the some amount of standard mass, suppose I am adding 5 kg of weight in this left side arm, 5 kgs, 5 kg of weight adding on this left side. That means I'm adding only 2 kg of weight in this right side. So the length L1 should be increased. The length of the uh, L1, it is increased because of it has high weight. It has high weight. Or I don't know about this amount of weight. It is 2 kg or 3 kg or 10 kg. I don't know about that. Whenever the highest amount of weight, the length is increased. You can add 5 kg in this left side, and you can add 5 kg in this left side, and right side you are also add 5 kgs. So both are same. It is in equilibrium position. It is in equilibrium position. The weight W1 and W2 are same. But in left side you add 5 kg, but you don't know about the right side weight. You don't know about the right side weight. Um, Suppose I am taking, um, for example, I am taking 8 kgs. In this 8 kgs, I don't know about this amount of weight. I don't know about this amount of weight. Okay, so how should you measure this unknown mass? Because the length of the highest weight, it is increased. The length of the arm, it is L1 and L2. The length of the arm, highest amount of weight, it is increased. Suppose L2 has the in right side arm has the highest weight, the L2 is increased, the length is increased. Then in this case, I am calculating the how much amount of deflection placed in the equal arm beam balance scale. Okay, so it is the overall working procedure of the scales and balances, and also unequal arm beam balance. In this unequal arm beam balance, we are using unequal arms. We are using unequal arms to measure force. Okay, and next you can see what is the elastic force meter. What is the elastic force meter? Then how should you calculate the uh, force by using this elastic force meter? Okay, so you can observe the diagram. What is the elastic force meter? So these elastic force meters, measuring units are measure the force by applying it to an elastic element and the measuring the elastic deformation. How much deformation is occurred, how much weight we are adding, that amount of deformation is occurred. Within elastic range of the materials, the deflection of the element is exactly on nearly proportional to the force. You can see that figure. The shape of the more common elastic members are used for force estimation. Okay, force estimation, and the corresponding relation for the elastic direction are outlined below of the diagram. The value of the material deflection constants defined by the Ki is equal to F by X. Ki is equal to F by X are also given. The symbols used their usual meanings. It is X is equal to FL by AE. X is equal to FL by AE, simple bars, and K is equal to AE by L. K is equal to A by L. Suppose one spring I am taking. It is a spring elastic force meter. In this elastic force meter, there is a spring. So in that spring, one end is connected to that calibrated scale of the fixed point, and another in we are add some amount of weights. Another end we are add some amount of weights. So how much amount of weights or how much amount of force you are applying the other end, the spring should be expanded. The spring should be expanded. So in that expansion process, if the scale is available, if the pointer is available, uh, that pointer shows the how much amount of weight added to that, uh, how much amount of force is added and force is applied on the other end side. We can calculate by the calibrated scale. Okay, you can see the condition, it is in stable position. If we add some amount of force, that is we can apply, there is L by 2, the length is increased, and you can see the overall highest amount of force applied on the spring. You can see there is a capital L. It is the maximum length of the uh, deflection of the spring. Okay, so that is the elastic deflection elements. You can see what is the formula. X is equal to FL by AE. You can calculate, that is K is equal to AE by L. K is equal to AE by L. Simply supported beams. I am taking simply supported beams. What is the formula? It is X is equal to 1 by 48 into FL cube by E into I. Then K is equal to, I will written as 3I by L cube. 3I by L cube. And spring, uh, that means what he told is you can take simple bars on this elastic force meter. In elastic force meters, you can take simple bars. So what is the condition? X is equal to FL by AE, K is equal to AE by L. You can take simply supported beam on the elastic force meter. That means in the replacement of simple bars, I am taking simply supported beams. Simply supported beams. What is the formula? X is equal to 1 by 48 into FL cube by EI. That is K is equal to 3EI by L cube. And next one, uh, I will take spring in the elastic force meter. I am using spring. That is X is equal to 8 FD cube by N into by CD power 4. That is K is equal to CD power 4 by 8 DQ N. So these are the different formulas. You can see where dm is a mean coil diameter, n is the number of turns of the coil, dw is the wire diameter, c is shear modulus. Okay, you can see I am taking spring. I am taking spring in this elastic force meter. What is the spring formula uh, of the force? It is x is equal to 8 f d q n by c d w power 4. So what is C? C is the shear modulus. C is the shear modulus. And dW is the wire diameter. dW is the wire diameter. It is the wire diameter. And N is the number of turns of the coil. You can see it is. N is the number of turns. These are the number of turns of the coil. And dm is the mean coil diameter. Dm is the mean coil diameter. These are the different terms of the elastic force meter. Okay, so you can see another measuring instrument of force, proving ring. By using this proving ring, we can calculate force. Okay, you can see what are the constructional details of the proving ring. There is a screw, index pointer, dial, ring, internal boss, external boss, feed, the force acting. The force acting. So the proving ring is a device used to measure force. The proving ring is a device, it is used to measure force. It consists of an elastic ring of known diameter with a measuring device located in the center of the ring. So in which object we can measure force, we can place that object in the middle of the proving ring. Okay, you can see it is the dial. So the dial is used to measure the force. Okay, the force is applied on the both side centers of the proving ring. External boss, internal boss, screws, index point, dial. Okay, ring. These are the constructional details. You can see there is a scale is also arranged in the proving ring. Okay, you can see this diagram. They are made of a steel alloy. These proving rings are made of steel alloys. It is manufactured according to design specification established in 1946 by the National Bureau of Standards. Proving rings can be designed to measure either compression or tension forces. So the compression forces we can calculate, or tension forces we can calculate on a particular object by using this proving ring instrument. The standard for calibrating material testing mission and capacity 1000 newtons to 1000 kilonewtons. Deflection is used as the measure of applied load. This deflection is measured by a precision micrometer. Micrometer is set with the help of vibrating speed. You can see what is the formula of this proving ring. M is equal to PR by 2 into cos phi minus 2 by pi. P is equal to force or load. M is equal to bending moment. R is equal to radius of proving ring. These are the different terms. You can see the working of the proving ring. A ring is used for calibrating tensile testing machines. It works on the principle of LVDT, which senses the displacement caused by the force, resulting in a proportional voltage. There is a deflection. There is a deflection equipment. You can see this deflection equipment. Displacement sensor LVDT is placed in the proving ring. It is provided with the projection lux for loading, and LVDT is attached with the internal uh, integral internal bosses C and D. C and D. It is C and D. Integral internal bosses. With the help of LVDT is placed. C and D for sensing the displacement caused by the application of force. The LVDT used to sensing the how much amount of deflection caused by the force. When the forces are applied through the integral external bosses A and B, it is A and it is B. The integral external forces are adding on this A and B. The diameter of ring changes depending upon the application, which is known as ring deflection. The diameter of the ring is changes. The diameter of the ring is changes with the deflection of the different applications. Okay, so that is push forces. We are applying push forces or pull forces. The diameter, how should you can see the change of proving ring diameter. The diameter is changes. Okay, you can apply the push forces. The diameter is changed like this. You can apply the pull forces. The diameter like changes. Okay. And next one, load cells. These are the different load cells used to measure the force. There is a hydraulic load cell, mechanical load cells, pneumatic load cells. These load cells we will discuss in next class. Just you can see what are the different constructional details of these load cell. One is a hydraulic load cell. You can see the hydraulic load cell. There is a fluid filled space. You can see fluid filled space and diaphragm, and you can apply the force on the diaphragm, loading platform, and a pressure gauge. Okay, so these are the constructional details of the load cell and pneumatic load cell. In this pneumatic load cell, there is a manometer. So the manometers readings are take to calculate the force. There is a force applied in applying position, nozzle, flapper, diaphragms, pressure regulator, air supply, and also strain gauge load cell. Measured resistance, tension increases resistance. Okay, so it is the working of the strain gauge load cell. So how should we calculate different terms to be taking? How should we measure force? Please. Okay. So thank you. Next class, the in detail about these load cell, mechanical load cell. and pneumatic and hydraulic load cells, um, strain gauge load cells. In detail, we will discuss in next class. So thank you guys.